People are boring.
Yeah, why is that?
Because you're not even letting me interrupt you.
She needs a topic for
because I was
kicking
reading
off the thing.
I knew she was poking us for the cold open, right? But I was reading about the rat battling skeleton horse. Does that get us started? Does that work?
Yeah, rat battling skeleton horse. That's going to come in and drink all your beer.
Right. So, because it's got like 3 L's and a Y, W, and a D, and that's the whole name. Like, that's not even like I omitted some letters. That was like the whole name. So,
yeah. More do you need?
Yeah.
Maybe a couple vowels.
Y sometimes counts. So, yeah, my favorite part is that so we've got like a proper British person for our D&D group now, right? Like we've evolved beyond the token girls. We've got like the token British guy now, and he, like, I think his first, well, maybe his second real character name, he gave a Welsh name, and he's like, it was like, I'm gonna say it Americanized, and then if you know, you can laugh at me, but his name was Lasath, was how we would pronounce it. But it totally turned into like Nicolaj from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where it's like, no, dude, I think I'm saying it. Like, you say it, and then I'll say it. And like, it shouldn't be that hard. But yeah, Welsh names, they're ridiculous. There you go. Is that your cold open? I even got Brooklyn Nine-Nine. They do cold opens. Like, we got the whole thing.
I've never watched that one yet. So.
You haven't watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
No.
That makes 2 of us.
Go watch. Oh, my. You live Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm just kidding.
Right, so what do I need to watch it for?
Yeah, it's pretty good, and it gets better. It's one that, definitely gets better. So
I've seen like stills and memes of it that like, oh yeah, I'd probably enjoy that. I just haven't ever gotten around to it.
Yeah, I'm too busy watching Dark for the 3rd time or
some
other Welsh.
Much more than that.
Yeah.
You're not going to have time for shows if you get an alpaca farm, right? You're also
I'm
not
sure
going
to watch TV too.
You're also not going to have electricity.
Oh, I'll have electricity. Like if I move on to a farm, I will have decent electricity and I will have good internet.
See, that's the problem. I think what EG is hinting at is that the fantasy of you owning a farm is divorced from the reality of you owning a farm.
I have some very strict boundaries, and those will be realized if it ever happens.
The laws
strong
of physics,
internet
nature,
must
and common sense will it or not.
Yeah, I have very strict things. Yeah, these all sound like failed words, like words coming out of a failed alpaca farmer. Because I have very strict needs. Then farming's not for you. Like, is getting up before the sun every single day one of those needs? Because
I can deal with timings and darkness and shit, but I need internet.
Why? You're not gonna have time for it. The alpacas will take all your time.
No,
right? Like unless you install Wi-Fi on the herd and have a screen on every.
Yeah, of course they're big. They're big enough to be pack animals.
I'm sure they will enjoy that.
Yeah, they probably will.
They get especially excited when the action scenes come on. So. Instead of random ramblings, we should just call this like ridiculous something episode 1 or whatever. So
at the moment it is named Holiday Ramblings, but I can change anything on YouTube. So.
Anything?
Aren't all these episodes ridiculous ramblings, no matter what the topic is, supposedly?
Yes, kind of.
So
sure. Point. You can have it. So
I was going to take it anyway, but thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
So
how was your weird ass, KFC and egg roll Christmas? Got to start with something.
The director, how was it?
I don't know how to make egg rolls. I never have. I had baked chicken.
They come from a box. You put them in the machine, and then when it's hot, they come out.
I guess I could have done that. I made biscuits
that's what Hot Pockets
from one of those like things. I didn't make them from scratch. I was like, they were good.
Nice.
Nobody should make biscuits from scratch. Those freaking Pillsbury ones are perfectly acceptable. They take 20 minutes, and
especially the flaky ones. Like,
yeah. I have done like croissants and danishes from scratch, doing the puff pastry, and I would think I'd prefer to do that if I was going to have croissants. But no, the biscuits are just fine from a can, and they're tasty.
Yeah, I don't do the croissants because you still have to roll those shits, and no, that's work.
Nah. I mean, the rolling is fine. They're just not as awesome as if I made them from scratch. Like, there's an actual difference, and that I would find worth it to do the several hours worth of work.
You know what else you can't do if you're on an alpaca farm? Scratch make croissants.
How do you know?
Well, back in the day, she could have, because she would have been in the kitchen all day.
Well, back in the day, she wouldn't have had a choice.
Right.
But her work ethic is not being made for her right now, which means she won't have one. Now I want biscuits.
I was gonna crack wise about, like, did you guys know that Gordon Ramsay was a subscriber? Because he just unsubscribed. Like, do you guys talk about what's an acceptable level of, pre-made stuff? So
That's okay. His judgment of my food would be irrelevant to me.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like, is it easy? Is it tasty enough? Okay, we're going for it.
Right.
If I can eat it, that's all I care about.
I don't get food poisoning. It's nourishing and it tastes good in that order.
Yeah.
Luckily, we can usually skip over like the first two and get right to three, but so.
Yeah, I haven't poisoned myself ever. So I think I'm okay.
That's good.
Would you admit it even if you had?
Yeah, probably.
Trying to think if I have, but
The close thing I can think of is I drank a little bit too much scotch a couple years ago, and not even an unreasonable level, and I was doing everything right of like eating, drinking a whole bunch of water, still spent the whole night puking.
Yeah.
Well, if you go by the very loose definition of poisoning yourself, whereas either you drink too much that it causes you to throw up, or you eat too much that it causes you to go into the bathroom, then yes, we've all done that to ourselves, I'm sure.
Alcohol definitely counts as a poison. That's why your body reacts the way that it does. Yeah.
Well, my body can just fucking get over it.
And it will eventually. If
It's
you
gotten
don't
better.
Do too much.
As time has gone on.
So,
Yes. Well,
Christmas Day was a testament to that.
yeah. So you're not hungover from yesterday. You're still drunk.
No, I'm not hungover. I very rarely get hungover because I do drink water in between.
Right.
And I do eat throughout the day. So I'm not like, it's not just, I start the morning. I started yesterday morning with Bailey's and coffee and a mimosa. Well, I say a mimosa, but I mean like a string of mimosas. And because, I had both bottles next to me. So I was like, well, I'm just going to keep making them. And then the eggnog came.
Oh, I don't have orange juice.
And then it was wine at dinner.
Nice.
It was a good day.
Because Catholic holiday, gotta have your wine.
Listen, I don't need religion to get drunk. Yeah, I mean, you could use drinking to get through religion, but I don't come from religious households, so I don't have to worry about that. Andreas is still drunk. That's why he's not here. He's dead in a gutter somewhere in Finland.
That's possible.
Well, hopefully not dead, but
dead is subjective.
Yeah. Right.
Half dead?
There was
Mostly
this
dead?
one guy this one time, so
usually he at least responds.
Right.
At least to say that,
That's why we know it's
I'm
bad.
too fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah. Good for him, though. Hopefully.
No, it's bad for him. It's a bad time.
He's just going to have to put up with you making fun of him even more.
Yeah,
Right.
That was going to be a real stretch for me.
Yeah. You just you can get to call him Swedish and you get to call him a drunk.
Well, I can do whatever I want, but yes, those are both valid.
Those are among the things that will happen in this episode. So, yeah.
Maybe.
And next week. And
Or
the
I'll
week
forget
after.
his existence.
Right.
Oh, God, you make it sound like this is going to be an ongoing thing where we have to come to work every Saturday. I don't like it.
You know what the pattern is, right?
Right.
You know how the calendar works.
Yeah, but I don't think of it that way.
I'm glad, I guess. I don't know. It's not work. It's
That's-
fun. I mean, I put it on the calendar, so I have a reason.
I
to
have
set
never
aside
looked at
time
the
to talk to
calendar
my friends.
more than once in my entire time on this thing.
Fair.
And I think that time was by accident because I was trying to click something else and I just hit the calendar for some reason. I don't need a calendar like some people. I know Saturday means work, but not work.
Right. For me, it's whether or not I also follow this with D&D and to make sure that the wife knows. And occasionally we do it like early or late, but
And what time zone you're in these days.
right. And whether or not it's Dresden or the other one. Oh, wait, this is the other one.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing. We broke our pattern for like 5 straight weeks.
Nah,
Right.
it's like 3 in a row. I don't know. Whatever.
Luckily, we pretty much come prepared anyway. You're in
It's been at least 4 in a
encyclopedia,
row.
So
It was good though. and got even more things. And in 3 weeks when we get back to it, it'll be great because next week is also a weird week.
Oh yeah, next week's the week that really nobody watches.
Right.
Like people don't watch this, they're
because-
definitely not going to watch next week.
But because we postponed it, they're already not watching this one. They're all going to tune in next week being like, oh,
Aha,
man, thank God we're going to have fresh content. Oh, no.
Excellent.
What have we been trapped into?
All those subscribers we gained down the tubes.
Great.
Oh well.
Yeah, but the end of year stuff, like we do it because I find it fun at the very least.
I like presents.
Yeah.
I'm okay getting presents from people I haven't met in person.
Well, I would still have to get the present, and like last year, it's not happening.
Well, it's one of the reasons we postponed it a week.
Right.
Because
I have no faith. Whoever had me clean
Where's
didn't
your
even
Christmas
have the
spirit?
ability to check that my address was already there.
Yeah, we'll be sure to bring that up next week and be like, all right, which one of you clowns can't read a spreadsheet? So
Like the third name.
see, and I knew mine was going to be problematic. So it was like as soon as we decided we were doing it, I updated the spreadsheet. So
yeah, and there's like about half of you, all of us moved,
yeah, at
like,
least.
and then the other half stayed, and so like it's
Because
So
I
those
don't
ones that
remember.
stayed should have really been the easy ones.
Right. I don't remember if J Ray moved immediately before or after, but I'm
he
pretty
moved
sure.
last year, so I think his address should be fine.
Gotcha.
But like,
So he
you
was
moved,
one that I
Colin
was
moved.
thinking I've moved twice, so that counts.
Yeah, Jacob
Like-
moved twice.
Right.
The other one, so it's. Phew.
Andres is easy.
So the
Wittgenstein's
average is
not
one
that
move
big.
per person. So
True.
All right, talk about
Uh,
something.
So, what was your favorite thing that you got or did?
Drinking
Drunk was
and the
yours.
alcohol
Yeah.
that I got as a gift.
Right. Did you get some good, like especially good alcohol or just a favorite?
No, I got moderately standard good alcohol that I drink often. You know, like Black Label, and there's a tequila I've been fond of recently called Casamigos. So
Nice.
I got that.
Did you have
I
four
mean,
of them?
What I didn't correct. I get liquor bottles and then I store them. I hoard them like Smaug. I
I'm
haven't
thinking
opened.
the song. Like, director might be following me, but no. If you drink 4 tequila, the next step is floor, right? So,
Oh
Yeah.
yes, yeah. I didn't have any tequila,
okay. That makes sense why you're alive today. Then.
but I'm very, especially as I've gotten to be an adult human being, asking for things. I don't. I just like, give me money. I as far as I put down one specific thing this year for both sides of my family to get me, and that was, and I mean, I get things. They know what I like. They know what I'll appreciate, but I can't think of things to ask for. Usually my fallback is like Yankees tickets, but fuck, I got screwed out of that last year too.
Right.
So this year I'm holding off.
Yeah. Nice.
I got Star Wars
Director?
glasses.
See, I didn't have. It's hard for me to remember because, in my husband's opinion, Christmas shouldn't be one day. It is like a season.
He's alive.
He looks like he's a zombie though. So.
Oh, he's so precious.
We didn't wake you up, did you?
How
Did
drunk
we?
are
Like-
you still? No one can hear you.
Right. You're
Still
muted.
kind of drunk because he can't talk.
Right.
He lost his voice, so does Shame. Nope, can't hear you.
Still not hearing you.
No,
So I
I'm
hope
sure
you're
he's
not
hearing
talking to
us at this point.
Right.
This is good entertainment.
He's hearing something. Or he's realized he's not hearing something.
Who knows?
Right.
Maybe all his senses have been killed by the alcohol.
Hello?
Oh,
Ah.
hi.
Oh, you are alive.
Yeah, my broadcast software was not running, so no,
Oh, no.
no sound.
Ah,
That's what happens when you have socialized internet.
No, I have a NVIDIA graphics card, and I use that to make my sound better, but it has to run, and that it wasn't.
Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again?
I tried turning it on, and that worked.
So you skipped step one, is what you're telling me.
So, what's up?
Only
What are we
it-
talking about?
Absolutely.
We're
Christmas.
talking about how you're dead. And
Yeah, I
I
assumed
like
you
that.
were in a ditch in Finland.
No, I kind of just forgot and was watching The Stand and had my
Ah.
Discord of D&D. And then that was done, and I came out. I was like, hey, I got a notification here.
See, this is what happened. You didn't properly summon him, so he didn't show up.
Yeah.
Botch summonings have consequences.
Yeah, I actually got him. Oh, it could have been worse. I could have gotten Ben.
So,
dude.
how was Christmas?
Yeah, pretty
Oh,
good.
you didn't send me anything, so it could have been better.
You didn't send me anything. Could have been better for me, too.
You're international. I don't have to.
But what? Then why do I have to?
Because my country is better than yours.
Oh, that's just not true.
You're
That's
also not
right.
wearing your festive gear. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I have one festive sweater, and it's dirty. So
It's also
I am wearing my new shirt though.
what does that good does that do? It's like a normal ass beige color.
If it was a Christmas present, I guess that's at least adjacent.
Don't
Yeah, it was,
And
it
give
was
him
a
a
Christmas,
break.
it was a
It's-
Christmas present.
it's like Tuesday
Jeez.
there, so it's not like Saturday. So
That's true.
Well,
Somewhere.
it's still Saturday for another 4 hours.
Thought he was gonna say 4
Then
minutes.
it's Sunday.
right.
Oh, if you wanted to invest in the director's alpaca farm, she's starting ground floor stock options.
Oh, really? Alpaca
Yeah.
farm? There's money
There's
in
so
that
many.
these days?
No,
No? Okay.
but she's gonna do it anyway.
I mean, more money than podcasting. So
I
What
disagree.
are you?
There
What
is
do
a
you mean?
net
We're-
loss. There will be a net loss in her alpaca farm. I guarantee.
We're fucking rolling
But the
in it, dude.
government will subsidize it. So
I mean, I could always give you alpaca pieces for podcasting material.
You're gonna chop up your alpaca and trade it for
Well,
podcasting?
you shear them.
here is
Alpacas
a
can be
leg.
traded for goods and services.
Yeah, but he didn't say alpaca fur or something. He's like,
Yes.
yeah, I'll take pieces of alpaca.
Yeah, you can have the ear.
Here is a hoof and a tail.
It's good for stew.
Right.
It retains flavor very well.
Director was just about to tell us how her husband spoils her all week. So
More like all month. And
Oh,
then,
wow.
well,
Sounds good.
yeah, because it's in his opinion, it's a whole season. You don't like hold gifts for one day. It's a whole thing. And especially if you want to enjoy them on Christmas Day. So I've been getting a lot of small things, but I'm pretty easy to please. So it's like, he got me like 12 earrings that I've been enjoying, or
Nice.
like lounge pants and really, really warm llama socks.
nice. I'm made out of real llamas.
Do you have a
They look like it.
tradition in the U.S. where you get a christened like each Sunday?
I'm not familiar with that one. I mean, we get people from your country too, so I can't say nobody does it. But
Okay, that's the thing. Usually more for kids. As you grow up, you don't really, unless your wife buys it for you or you buy it for your wife or whatever. But like each Sunday leading up to Christmas, there are 4 Sundays, and you get a thing in your stocking. Your sock.
Sounds very
some,
Hanukkah.
some presents,
right
and then on the 24th you get a lot of presents.
Yay.
on the 24th,
Not the 25th, the 24th.
Wow.
right?
The 25th is for the alcoholism. The 24th
24th is
for
for
church and presents.
Yeah, we eat in the evening and get presents in the
Really?
evening of the 24th, and there's nothing on the 25th.
No one
Unless there's like a
Spaghetti
Christmas
or some
lunch. We eat leftovers and get drunk.
shit. One of
Nice.
those things is good.
I like food.
I
Yeah, but
also-
you should still have fresh food. 2 days. People can't handle 2 days cooking, or in my case, going out to get food and then cooking.
Usually, it depends. Christmas lunch is more like over a period of time, so it can be all of like from September to January, depending on people's schedule.
That's a big
Christmas lunch lasts for 4 months.
Damn, we've been getting once
people
again
spread it-
Americans getting shafted. So
goddamn
People-
welfare state. This is what it
people
leads to.
spread it out a lot because of scheduling, right? And usually there's a lot of Christmas lunches. There's for work, and there's for some family, and then there's for friends.
I
but-
guess.
But we start in
Yeah.
September.
Yeah, we've done. I know, right? We've done Friendsgiving. Don't get me wrong, but since we have Thanksgiving is almost as big as Christmas without the presents, like as far as food goes, there's no way that we can. We'd be like, we're doing Christmas in September this year. Like what?
I mean, over most of our lives, Thanksgiving is like Christmas because then you usually have Black Friday the next day, so you're just giving gifts to yourself.
Right.
And I don't know about you. I guess maybe there's still good deals in the US, but Black Friday is just getting like since we've kind of done it like over the past 5-10 years, it's just getting more and more lackluster.
Well, a lot of them start their deals like the week of, so you don't even have to wait till Friday. There's a couple of select things they hold back, but it's usually not the shit you want anyway, unless you were really in the market for that new laptop.
Yeah, there's not really much the same kind of like really. I've seen some really good deals when I've seen stuff in the US like 50%. There's nothing here that's like 50% that you actually want. But I've seen like good
that's
laptops
probably
or
not
good
actually
TVs.
50% off.
No,
Like,
they
they
probably
probably
marked it
jacked up
up,
the
and now it's
price.
more, and it's actually like 20%.
That's very illegal here.
Yeah, well,
Some people still do it, but they also usually get punished for it.
it's illegal here too. That doesn't mean anything. There are lots of illegal things here that doesn't
I
matter.
thought that, I'd imagine there was just fine in the US.
No, that's one of the things they once back in the day they were like, no, we shouldn't do that, but people don't give a shit.
What is this? A socialist country all of a sudden?
Free
Price
markets.
regulation?
Woo! Yeah.
Yes,
Can't be
you live in a
true. It's the
socialist
US. So,
What do you mean? So you came late? Spur the conversation.
I don't know. Have anyone watched The Stand yet
No.
No.
on HBO? Oh, it's really good.
Okay. Is that based on the Stephen King book?
Mhm.
Then I'm not going to watch it.
Why
Did you not like the book?
No, I never actually read the book, but I don't
Me
care.
neither.
It's a pretty good story. Even
Probably.
the Americana is not so bad in that one because it almost makes sense in the context. So
What is Americana?
I call it Americana. I don't know if this is how the critics refer to it or whatever, but Stephen King likes to go on for like 15 chapters in his 800-page books about like how here's the history of this small town or whatever. And in some of the books it makes sense, in some of the books it doesn't, but it's definitely a Stephen King thing, for the most part. And so you get a little bit of that from like Lost Boys, right? And like some of these again, they can kind of make sense because you're dealing with like a situation or a monster that's multi-generational, so like with it, some of it made sense because it was like, oh, well, we need to know these two different generations of happenings, and sometimes going back even further, like when the town was founded or whatever, and then you get a glimpse of ancient history, but that's a different thing. But like The Stand, there's like 4 or 5 chapters where it's like, and here's the history of this little area of Maryland because that's where all of my books are set, and it doesn't matter
The
that
Stand
much.
happened in Boulder. Boulder in Vegas.
They
Like that-
move there, but it doesn't start there.
Mm.
Because he starts out with the little disparate groups in their various locations, and then they pick up Aunt What's Her Face or Mama What's Her Face. I don't remember the Oracle character, and
I think it is.
yeah, and so
as I understand it in the books, it goes from basically pandemic start to and then follows like through. Whereas in this show, they've chosen to do split timelines, which makes it more engaging, I think.
Maybe. I mean, it's also going to get compared against all of his little miniseries, right? Because all of his books were the kings of getting their 4-episode, 4-movie miniseries thing. So that'll be fun.
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying with the America. I've watched a lot of King movies, like or books to movies, and that one miniseries he wrote directly for TV, The Perfect Storm of the Century, which is really good. But I've read like one book, which is The Institute, that came out like last year or the year before.
Gotcha.
And there's definitely a lot in the start, because I even mentioned this to my friends. I was like, I mean, I've read like, I don't know, 50, 60 pages. And so far it's just been about this one guy who's like on a road trip and talking about the local place where he's at.
Exactly.
But it's still really engaging. somehow.
Yeah, I mean it can be, like there are moments where it's just like, you're in these people's lives and whatever, but yeah. So I didn't realize the Institute was his. Like that's the other thing about Stephen King for me is like he's written so much stuff and so much of it's been adapted that it's like, oh shit, that was him too, Like if it's not one of the like top 10 or 20 books that you're familiar with, or recent. Like
I really enjoyed The Institute. It made me think I should read more King, and I just never got around to it. But
yeah.
So I guess this is new. It's usually being compared. There's like old King and new King. They say.
Sure. Yeah, whether or not he was on cocaine at the time, is also
depends on the quality of the book.
Right. So
I like New King at least. I thought it was a very good book.
Yeah, some of the new stuff is really good because I feel like he moves away from that or blends it better. Maybe, like I read the 11/23/63 or whatever.
I haven't read, but it's on my list. It's supposed to be really good.
Yeah, it's exceptional. Like it's really good for a lot of reasons. But I don't know. I've read half a dozen of, I would say his bigger books, but there's still so many, and the whole reading Dresden Files for an actual career, Andreas is like, how come you haven't read a book? Like I haven't read a book in 3 years because we've been going through our reread and,
But I've been mixing it like, through the rereads, I've gotten 20, 30 books on the side still.
I don't, because then I have to reread Dresden again, which is like the whole point of rereading it is to refresh my memory. I've got I read that once kind of memory. And, if I read something in between, I'm going to have to go read Dresden again because then I miss the little details. And the director's like, I've got the page right here and you're wrong. Well, yeah, no shit. I read it like a month ago.
I'll reread Dresden again. But I need to cut down on rereads because, like, just the books I have here and the books on my to read list is like really big, and I'm just not getting anywhere with it when I reread too much.
Get out in front
for you mortals and your inability to simply recall this information.
I have an exceptional memory, but yours beats mine. Even like
yours
compared to mine is mine compared to like Andreas.
That's true.
So
Andreas is stupid.
So,
but it's okay, Andreas. You're superior to Ben, so you got that going for you, which is nice.
Right. So, Andreas, get out in front of Dune if you're looking to like read stuff, especially if you want to read stuff from movies.
I want that
whatever.
Special edition of that book so bad. It's so pretty.
Did they do like a hardbound with art and whatever?
They did like I'll find it.
Okay.
I'll link it to you.
Man, Christmas is coming up, so that'll be. Oh wait.
Yeah.
One of those like, I should buy new things. It's not like we just had a holiday about that.
Depending on the price, he could have put it on his list, but
yeah, seriously.
Right.
It's probably going to be like
it's around there actually probably, but yeah. Okay, here you can actually somewhat see the book.
I do hope that movie does well. That is the only movie that I would have actually have gone to theaters
I was so
for.
disappointed when it got like put off, but
yeah.
Of course I was gonna go.
Hopefully it's a good thing, right? It has the opportunity to be like, to be the tip of the spear. I mean, it looks pretty. I'd be curious what else they change, So
they put it in their language or whatever. I don't know shit about Dune. I never read it, but
it was okay.
I think I played the game. It's the one where you harvest spice, right?
Spice
is glowing eyes, and spice must flow, and spice unlocks.
I watched the old movie
like
with the guy. I call him the Sex and the City guy because that's where I first saw him. Because my mom watched Sex and the City and I saw it too. And I don't.
It's okay if you watch Sex and the City. We're not going to judge.
He marries like the stuck-up one.
Thanks for knowing that.
Isn't that all of them?
I'll find
Isn't that literally all of them? Isn't that the point of the show?
No, one of them is more stuck up than the others.
Oh, okay. Well, when you figure it out, you let us know.
We're so glad that you've joined us for this.
But I got that computer game for Dune. I'm pretty sure it had to have been Dune because there was a red faction, a blue faction, and a green faction, and I always played the blue one because blue was my favorite color.
It wasn't like Spice? Command and Conquer.
This guy, Kyle MacLachlan. He's
Twin
in
Peaks.
the Dune.
He was the dude in Twin Peaks. How's that?
There you
I've
go.
never watched Twin Peaks, so how about that?
Well, me neither, but I
Okay.
would have known. I know his face. I don't even have to look at what it is now because I know who that is.
I don't even know what Twin Peaks is.
It's an old 80s show.
Oh, okay.
Late
Yeah.
or early 80s, or both.
I'm familiar with his like earlier stuff.
It was a pseudo.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of like Twilight Zone, but like more serialized. So it was this one ongoing story of this one weird town. It was kind of like a King thing where something.
He's in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too.
Wow.
He's pretty good there.
Dune was his first movie. That's crazy.
So, yeah. But that movie's
Is he married to Sarah, by the way? 'Cause
So-
we were talking about McLaughlin before.
Just to, no. Hold on. I
Are we
gotta
just Scottish? Or
I gotta
Canadian?
beat up on Andreas for a little bit. This
Go
is
for
where
it.
you went, right? Isn't the 1984 Dune? Isn't that the one with Patrick Stewart in it? Or
I think so. I think it was. If it has McLaughlin in it, it's Patrick Stewart. I think that's the one that has Sting in it.
but this is the
How
guy
kind
he
of a
pulled
fever
out of
dream
that
of a
line.
movie
Yeah.
was this?
I don't
Like-
remember Patrick Stewart being in it. I remember that guy.
Let me see, because maybe
Okay, I've seen like all of 10 minutes of that version, and Patrick Stewart was
he's-
right there.
He's in the 1984 Dune. You
Yeah,
freaking-
he's there. I can see him on the list.
And then Sting.
yeah.
Come on.
No, I mean,
Oh my god.
good job, like because he's Paul Atreides, right? So but yes, like it just while you're giving us this roundabout description about somebody from Sex and the Cities, you could have said the captain of the goddamn Enterprise, and that movie. So anyway,
Still
continue.
wouldn't help me.
Sorry, is that too old canon for you? Did you just not?
No. I mean, I think Picard is the best captain.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not really saying much because he is. And I don't even know shit
Nah.
about Star Trek, and I know that.
It depends on what you're judging it by.
I
He's,
mean-
he's probably the most
Competency.
Starfleet captain. Cisco was better. So
I don't know.
I don't know.
Big
Janeway is a close second, but yes. It's just-
Janeway got off light.
Cisco, even a
So-
captain, really? Doesn't he just
Yes.
command a space station?
He has a ship,
Which is
so
undoubtedly even more impressive because there's more shit there.
Mhm.
Yeah. for some reason no though, because he was a commander for like the first like
Whoever was in
Four
command of
seasons.
the stupid Yorktown thing in the new movie, that was terrible. That's the real impressive person. Because that was like a
what
planet.
Arisavala, like you're talking the one from Beyond, right? The
Yeah.
the one, yeah. I mean, it was very pretty, but yeah, I'm pretty sure sorry, I can't remember the actress's name because I'm terrible.
Well, see, that's the
But-
thing. I don't know if she was just the admiral stationed there or if she was like the person who oversaw all this place.
Right.
I just can't help but think about whenever I see that Star Trek captain, Avery Brooks is the actor, right?
Yeah.
I don't think about he's so iconic that I think about American History X every time.
Mhm. Gotcha.
That's such a good movie. Fuck me.
Bit of a
The
tone
voice,
shift.
the voice,
so
that
good.
voice just take that. It is a good movie. That voice just takes me I instantly think of that movie when I hear him speak.
Okay.
For me, I always think of In the Pale Moonlight. So, and now I've out nerded like at least two of you, but so.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking
It's-
about.
Me neither.
It's a classic DS9 episode. Basically, it's one of the defining episodes of DS9 and the characters that are involved. But basically, Cisco cheats and kills people and brings the Romulans into the war. And so it's this big controversial thing because he's a Starfleet officer and whatever. But it has some of the greatest moments. And then at the end, it has like one of the best monologues of like the entire Enterprise, any of the shows, any of the seasons. Basically he admits to it, right? So like while you're going through the episode, he's doing his captain's log on the side, he's doing his personal log, and then he basically, he says, so I did it. I lied, I cheated, I murdered, and I did everything that I needed to do. And the damnedest thing about that, I think I can sleep. I think I can live with that, And then he says, computer, delete that entire personal log. And then that's the end of the episode. And it's just, it's great because he, during the episode, they've got this tailor named Garrick. You maybe heard of the character, but he's a Cardassian and he's basically like a retired spy. But, the entire time they can't get him to own up to it. But during the episode, they're using him for a lot of those clandestine contacts and stuff. And so you're basically seeing, well, he's the Starfleet officer, right? He can't bend the rules. He can't do whatever. And he's playing good cop, bad cop with the Cardassian spy. And, then they get caught and, try to get out of it. Well, succeed at getting out of it. And, this is all the backdrop between their, the Founder War. What was the Dominion War? So anyway, sorry. See, that stuff I don't have to reread every week to keep it in my brain, but Dresden, the details get a little fuzzy. So
is it the visual media that helps, or is it just how much you've consumed it?
It's not even necessarily how much I've consumed it, because I've probably only I've seen the episode like 3 times. But it was like when I was a child, it was like 96-ish when the episode came out, at least when the show came out, and that's where I have a memory for that, right? You ask me about D&D rules, ask me about Star Trek or Star Wars, Lord of the Rings a little bit, though that's faded because I haven't used it as much in the last 20 years. But for some reason, Dresden doesn't get the encyclopedic treatment in my brain, so not to that level anyway. So.
What's your favorite Star franchise then?
It really kind of depends. I mostly side with Star Wars usually, but they're so close to equal, it's trivial to pick one. So, but as a child, it was always Star Wars, and so that's usually my de facto. But as I get older, like I appreciate the differences more, right? Like I appreciate them for different reasons, and that's part of why I get so upset when they blur the lines or they don't stick to whatever the idea is. See, and now you've tricked me into talking about this, but yeah, but Star Trek to me is more serious. Yeah, right. Star Trek to me is more serious, more exploratory, more hard science. So, having Captain Kirk go in guns blazing, sure, that's where we started, but that's not where we are now. And then Star Wars to me is more, fantasy, more, sword and sorcery type, like.
Keep your eye means to yourself, Andreas. Whatever you're about to say is wrong.
Tell me about your new canon.
No, I was gonna say I feel like Kirk is less fundamental to the overall Star Trek world than Next Generation and forward. Really, I don't feel like Kirk is as important as that. I think like Next Generation is definitely the most important series and what sets the tone. And it seems like they're kind of trying to make it more action now, which I'm about. But my favorite Star franchise is the Red-Headed Stepchild one. Then it's the third one.
Okay.
Stargate.
Yeah, Stargate was good, but it just a lot of it was campy, right? At least until the end, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But, it just, there is a lot of fun episodes. There's a lot of fun concepts. They do a really great job with the universe building. And then I feel like it really it both does and doesn't get its legs towards the end, because once you finally deal with Anubis, like dealing with Anubis was some of the greatest stuff. And then you finally get Earth, meeting the Asgardians and getting the uplift a little bit better than even dealing with the Goa'uld. So you get all the technology and things like that, and that's when you get Prometheus and Dauntless. Was that the other ship? Sorry, which one?
The Daedalus.
Oh, Daedalus. Okay, yeah. So those were some fun times, but then they were up against like the Ori, right? And it was like I don't care about like these guys as a villain. So
it should have been the tone shifted so much and the team changed so much, even though there was like some of the same. Like they should have when it became to the Ori and they kind of took a new direction. The Goa'uld was kind of defeated. I feel like maybe it should just been a new show.
Sure.
But I mean, SG-1 is really good. Atlantis is super good, and Universe, we had 1.5 season that just sucked, so it got canceled. But the last half of season 2 was actually really ramping up, but it was just too late.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure people like me had given up by then, and it's like I pretty much watched like all of SG-1, right, and maybe half of Atlantis, so when you've got fans that have been like, oh, I've been here for like a decade, and then give up on the new show, that's rough. So
I mean, I SG1 and Atlantis, I can find very little faults with. And Universe, there was a lot of problems.
right.
They really wanted to go that gritty Battlestar Galactica kind of feel, and it just was not working.
Right.
Yeah, but Gate, then probably Trek, then Wars.
That's all right. The best Stargate is, the original movie anyway. So.
Movie was good.
Movie was good.
No wonder you have such
Not the
shitty Star
not the
Wars
best
takes.
Gate in my opinion, but
No wonder you have such shitty Star Wars takes. It's third out of that list for you.
Right.
it was just. I mean, so the movies came out what? The first ones I was not born for, so I saw them on TV and they were good. They were good movies. I liked them. I mean, the prequels came out, and I saw them in the movie theater, and I thought they were good, and I definitely have I think I liked them more than the original three because they came out when I was a kid, and I saw them in the movie theater. But I don't think they're objectively better movies. They're not really.
They're not even really good movies. They're just entertaining.
It's better than the more recent shit we've got.
Well,
Yes, but if you actually like, there's a lot of nonsense in the prequels.
I mean, I
we
would
look
say
on them fondly.
Yeah.
the first one of the newest trilogy is probably better than almost all the prequel trilogy. Because I mean, it was a little boring because it was inoffensive in it did nothing new. But it was at
offensive.
least
That was offensive in and of itself.
no, that was not very
Oh, no.
offensive because
Yes, it was. Do not do fucking Starkiller Base. Oh my god.
Star Wars, they don't
What
really
if we
tread
did a
their ground
planet?
much, do
And
they?
what if we blew up 5 planets at the same time? That's even more scary than blowing up a planet.
Then
The way that we
second
treated
one,
the
terrifying.
relationships that we already cared about and just torpedoed them, and then like, no, we're going to do the exact same thing that we already did twice,
okay,
but bigger.
So,
And for some reason, that's allowed to happen. No.
so counter argument, they tried a lot of new shit in the second one of the new trilogy,
I gave
and
up
I would
already.
say that was a lot worse.
Yeah, you
On
may
the
have
second
noticed
one.
that both people don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Right. The second one is objectively not great, but there were some good parts of it, and I can't really say the
I
same.
respect him for trying. At least I'm like, I'll give him that.
Yeah.
It's like I'll try something. You guys don't want to give me a direction here. I'm doing something new.
Oh, that guy's
Ugh,
got his head
no.
so far
Anyway,
up his ass that he doesn't want He is direction. He knows what he's doing. He's an artiste. He's a schmuck, is what he is.
Good on him. That's what they get for not having an overall vision. I mean, that's just the studio's
And
fault.
how much
Why
new
didn't they?
shit have they announced in the past month?
Wait, yes, it is the studio's fault, but you can't be like, okay, so this is what happened, and now I'm gonna fucking throw it out the window.
I mean, they should have had a Kevin Feige. That's what I'm like. It's mismanagement.
Yes, they
In the
should have.
end.
That doesn't mean you can't use your brain cells as a director.
But what if he doesn't? What if he feels like that was the best? They probably did. He felt like that was the best.
Well, then he should quit and fuck off.
I mean, art and stuff like that is very subjective, right?
No,
But it is.
whatever I say it is. And I
But
say
movies
it's
have certain like hard metrics like dollars, and they are critics that have spent their own careers assigning numbers to these things. So not entirely subjective.
anyway.
They should have had a guiding hand, or should have Favreau do everything now. Can we have that?
No, because he doesn't do good Star Wars either. You just
Oh my
love
God! Can we just? We cannot get anything positive out of Jacob with Star Wars. Never.
it. Sure, you can. The original was
Mandalorian
great. I
is
enjoy the
fucking
prequels, and the old EU stuff was wonderful. There's
The
plenty of good
Mandalorian
Star
is-
Wars, just because people have been
Mandalorian
shitting on
is-
it for the last 10
Mandalorian
years.
is good Star Wars, EG. It's objectively good.
Okay. Okay.
It's subjectively good. It's just good.
It's
good Star Wars.
You are welcome to your enjoyment of it. I enjoy laughing at it. It's brought me more entertainment than the sequels. I will grant you that, because it's funny in how bad it is. But as opposed to the others, which were just offensively bad.
I did enjoy people being mad about genocide eggs, something in space that don't matter. It's fiction. But people were mad. Oh, it was fun.
That whole stupid episode. We can't go to hyperspace because the eggs are going to blow up. Meanwhile, let's flip through the air 8 million times, but the eggs are fine.
Sure, there's a difference, right?
How is there a difference? All
One
those
thing
eggs
is
are
like, this is
fucked.
just okay. This is just like where those fit, like, so you don't know how subspace, hyperspace, how it affects these eggs. It would be completely. It's not just about
How
speed.
about kinetic
You're
force when
kinda
they're falling through the air and it's bouncing all over the place?
Yes, that's. I don't know how bad that is. But we know that like. Okay, so in Star Wars, how do they do subspace and hyperspace? Is it a different dimension? Is that why?
It's never. I don't think it's ever specifically gone into, but at least in the visual media, in
Stargate, for example, it's different. It's subspace, and there is shorter distance between points.
Yeah, they're like these lanes. They're hyperspace lanes. So it's basically like, I mean, it's fast travel, but it's a little more than that. So I think it's just. I don't think it's meant to be an alternate dimension. I think it's actually just the speed.
Because depending on how that's done, that could be why that's why the eggs can't take.
Listen, fine. The eggs can't be in
travel.
whatever, fine. But then you can't have that ship falling and tumbling in the sky and show all the luggage in the back compartment falling around, but the eggs are just conveniently like just sliding really nicely. No, those shits are fucked.
Maybe.
Definitely.
We don't know how sturdy they are to physical arm. I mean, you can just say it like that. But they can be eaten by a Yoda.
And they're in a glass canister.
So, I mean,
they're eggs in a glass canister. Those things are...
Could be space glass. There's glass in the front of
it's
the
glass in
spaceship.
space. It's by definition space glass.
That's just the spaceship glass is pretty sturdy on the front of the Razorback, right?
Baby Yoda should have eaten every one of those little fuckers.
I'm just saying, I can count on nitpick too and say, oh, you don't know. I mean, it's sci-fi and fantasy and magic. Who knows? Is it explained how it works?
It's a glass container with eggs in them. This is not the science.
Is it said it's glass?
Yes.
You said it's glass.
I mean, it looks like glass. He said it was glass. It could be space glass. It could be a whole other material. We don't know.
So how come they make a material that can withstand hyperspace and fuck not that problem? Either way you slice it, it's stupid.
I don't know. Sci-fi, dude. Unless it's explained. I mean, you can just say, oh, well, it's sci-fi.
Yes, you could if you're a moron. You could absolutely do that. You could just be like, well, it's whatever. I like it. It's good. It's good Star Wars.
I mean, I like rules. I like rules. I like the rules to be established, but you can't necessarily just presume that it is a thing, and then just be mad about it.
Watch me.
Andreas, you broke the unwritten third rule of Christmas. The first two rules are no politics and religion, and the third one is don't talk about any Star franchises.
No, but it's like he's so proclaimed, loves Star Wars, and yes. He won't he's shitting on Mandalorian, and it makes no sense because it's actually good.
It's not. It's just not offensively bad like the other stuff is.
Andreas, I agree with you more if it helps. So,
yeah, that helps.
It does.
Mandalorian's not perfect, but it's not as bad as anything that's followed the original trilogy. So
I would say it's better than the prequels. It's better than the sequels.
I like that they're trying to recanonize the Legends stuff. So
yeah, well, if only they had thought of that beforehand, before they fucking decanonized it.
Yes, I know. People are stupid, but now Favreau and unfortunately also Filoni, I have to give credit to. Why
don't you want to give Filoni credit?
I don't particularly like some of the takes that he has, So Clone Wars as a unit, if I had to give it like a pass fail, then it's great. It's perfectly fine for the most part. It gives us more of what we wanted to get out of, the prequels instead of, oh, by the way, the war started and then the war ended. You can't explain that, that we got from the movies, right? Because it basically is literally leading up to the war in one movie and then finishing the war in the next movie. So filling in all those gaps, great. There are a lot of things that I've had to adapt to over time. I didn't like Ahsoka's character at first. It's taken me years to get past that and finally see how she evolved. But the fact, so like Ahsoka's character and what they did with the clones, and therefore what they did with Boba Fett and all of these things are like, oh my God, it's such a mystery. Like, there are no Jedi, there are no apprentices, there are no blah blah blah. This is definitely this way. And then the Clone Wars, or at least taking from the prequels, were like, yeah, but kind of, right? Like, Luke Skywalker actually had at least 3 apprentices and counting now, because we did it in the books or the cartoons or a video game or whatever, right? All of those things.
Luke had apprentices in what?
Ahsoka Tano is Luke Skywalker's apprentice.
No.
Yes.
Anakin's.
Sorry, Anakin's. Yes, thank you. God, okay. I'm like, one
of
us
no,
is
that's
crazy. It's me.
I was like, I was pissed off the Clone Wars was even a thing anyway, because I was like, you can't give him an apprentice, and it's never, and it's only in this. It doesn't work.
It's never brought up. So with the final episodes that he finally released this year, right? Like, that's how long we had to wait for this as well. He finally lines it up really well with the movies. And so from that perspective, I'm gonna give him credit there. But again, like, he does good things, but there's loads of shit in between, right? If you watch Rebels, hyperspace whales, you're going to give me every time, bring up the hyperspace whales. You want to talk about Clone Wars, the worst thing.
Also come back to life from time travel or some bullshit.
Yeah, the time travel stuff is also wonky and is just mostly, I ignore that, because it ties into the worst thing from Clone Wars was that entire Force planet and the 3, pinnacle Force users anyway. I don't need that, right? Like, it's fine. Star Wars is fantasy, whatever. We've got, Master Yoda. We've got Obi-Wan Kenobi. We've got Mace Windu. We have the space wizards. I don't need to find out that behind the space wizards is Space Gandalf and his 2 kids. Like that.
I called them space. I called them Force gods, basically.
Yes,
right?
That's pretty much what they are. It's just Force gods. They're handled much better in the books, but
right?
That's also because they don't really do much in the books. No, we didn't.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that you describe as a problem is, it's fair, but it's also, I would say, it suffers from the same problem that the management of the sequels did, which is a lack of overall vision, right?
No, because the reason why Filoni's so hot on himself is because he has a direct line to George Lucas. Like, because one of the other things that I had a problem with...
Yeah, but I don't think... George Lucas didn't have an overall vision. Like, with the sequels and what happened in between with the Clone Wars.
But if anybody gets to say they have the overall vision, it's going to be Lucas, right? And so what I was going to say is, like, one of the other things that I had a huge problem with Clone Wars was bringing Darth Maul back. And that is literally... Like, it was post facto, right? So honestly, I think George is just trying to stay relevant or something along those lines. But he came out not too long ago, like within 2 or 3 months, and basically gave an interview that Darth Maul was going to be the villain of the sequels if he had done them, that he was going to bring him back anyway. And I'm like, that's just hot garbage. It just is.
And would have made for terrible movies.
Right. Like, the dude, pick a different character. Fine, do something with Savage, which is also the stupidest fucking name in Star Wars. But yeah, right. But if you've got to have Darth Maul Part 2, can we just do a brother instead of, well, sure, you got cut in half and fell down an elevator shaft onto some bullets, but you survived with metal legs because reasons for years. Like, give me a break, man. There's none of that story.
Since apparently they can only bring back villains if it's choice between that and Palpatine. Fucking give me Darth Maul legs all the time. But
who's worse at bringing back characters that are supposed to be dead? Star Wars or the Fast and Furious franchise?
No, Star Wars.
Oh, I don't know.
Star Wars. It's by far Star Wars. Nobody dies in Star Wars. The only one who stayed dead is Han, and that's only because he can't become a Force ghost. You either become a Force ghost or you don't actually die. You don't die in Star Wars.
We haven't seen Mace Windu yet.
You heard his voice. You heard his voice in the stupid thing. He's there.
That's fair. He might still be in The Mandalorian, though. You don't know.
Yeah.
Star Wars Theory is actually making a cool as a YouTube channel, and he's making a cool little spin-off series with Vader going to face Mace Windu because Mace Windu survived getting thrown out the window. I mean, it's actually pretty well made. There's only one
don't
episode
need
out.
it.
Does fall damage not exist
Yeah.
in Star Wars?
Nothing
You just
exists
you
in
can just
Star
go
Wars.
force, and it's
Once
not,
upon a time, you could die and stay dead. Now, no.
He's a Jedi. He landed on a car like 50 feet outside the window. Like,
It's like when people were doing that with Snoke, and I was like, oh, it could be disfigured Mace Windu. It's like, why would you want that? Why would that be a thing?
right.
Why is that good? Oh, he could be Finn's father. Why? Because he's black? No. You have Lando if you really want to go that route. And then they did that with some other fucking nobody.
why is the it's like a thing my roommate brought up, which I didn't really have an answer for. What is the explanation in Clone Wars to the whole? Usually Sith is one master, one apprentice. That's the system. What's the explanation for the Inquisitors?
They're not Sith.
That are
they're
like-
dark. They're just dark side acolytes.
But they use
don't
get the
official
Force and
title.
lightsabers and are trained.
Yes, they
Yeah,
don't get the
it's-
official title, and that's what matters. Apparently.
It's because none of the rules apply in Star Wars. That's the answer.
Yep.
There are no Jedi, including the time that Vader literally took an apprentice. The apprentice turned against him, called himself a Jedi, and tried to kill him. That doesn't count. Asajj Ventress wasn't an
Is that
apprentice.
Star Killer? Because that was removed
Darth-
from canon, wasn't it?
No, I
Canon
thought
is
the
just a-
Force Unleashed still
Yeah.
counts.
It used to
So,
be.
but in any case, like that's the problem, right? Like they follow these rules, and then on the field, so always two there are a master and an apprentice, right? Palpatine definitely counts, though you've got Pelagius in there where maybe he was the apprentice at one point. You've got Darth Maul, Darth Tyrannus, and Asajj Ventress, with Grievous again blurring a different set of rules on the field all at the same time. So is it that we don't know what the definition of Sith is, or is it that we're
Which
just
is why
like
it was fine in the movies,
know,
because it was him and Maul.
not
Then
following
Maul
the rules.
died, and then it was
Yep.
Tyrannus, and then Tyrannus died, and then it was Anakin. So it was fine.
And then if you take the Clone Wars cartoons as canon as the movies are,
which I don't.
then you've broken the rules. So, and that's part of the problem. And it's the same thing. That's why when people are like, oh man, Grogu's dead because there's only one Jedi, blah, blah, blah. It's like, look, Luke was the only one Jedi. Then you had Kyle Katarn. Then you got, there's so many one Jedi. Like, I don't think they even know anymore. They just say things that sound cool. And then, like it doesn't matter because
the one good thing they could do is make it so that Kyle killed Grogu, and that way people will hate the sequels even more, even though that I would be okay with.
right.
I mean, right now, unless
Which I don't think it's going to happen.
Of course not. But they're not going to kill him because he's fucking. It took them a year to realize they have to merchandise this thing because somehow Disney, of all people, didn't see the appeal of Baby Yoda
Right.
was going to be. But now that they have, forget it. That little fucker's never going away.
And
Even
I'm still,
Baby Luke got to grow up in the same movie.
I'm still praying they're somehow gonna decanon. I mean, they decannoned all of Legends. Why can't they decanon the 3 movies?
Oh, if only. But they won't. They will never admit that mistake.
I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know that it's ever been done, right? Like,
It would
sure,
have to be
I mean, they can
alternate
just come
timeline.
out and say it. Right.
They would have to
There's
do what
a-
Star
They can
Trek
come out and
is.
say it, but
I read about a loophole. Like they could Star Trek it, for example, and they could exactly. That's how Sidious survived. There's like this room with force mirrors, and you can use that to travel to different dimensions. So you could use that to explain.
Even their explanation shit.
Yeah, but it's an explanation, and you get to remove the sequels from the canon.
Listen, I appreciate the end result. I just the ends justifying the means is going to skirt really close if they go like something force mirror in a room route.
Just gotta do what you gotta do, man. Let's get that.
Yeah, that's true. Listen, fine, do it. Decanonize it in a way, but
Give me a different fate for Luke, please.
yeah, have him come back and cut down robots because it's so cool.
That was really cool. Come on.
Amazing.
How fucking cool was that scene?
It was the greatest scene ever.
It was the fucking greatest.
It was
really
the only
I know
reason the only reason the Boba Fett scene wasn't the best scene of all season is because they gave us Luke at the end.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic,
That's
but I'll
fair.
take it because
You
I agree.
really
with
should know that I'm being sarcastic.
you. I'll take it because I agree with this with you. So
Okay.
it was a great scene.
All
Right, Justin? It was amazing, right? It was like so good.
Yeah. If only Luke had
The
knee
Boba Fett
rockets, it
one?
would have been even better.
those knee
What-
rockets are what I would consider as canon, though. I'm just saying. So
I mean,
Listen,
cannons?
cannon things can be stupid too. Knee rockets are retarded.
it just showed you how badass he was. So
Yeah.
and how badass his armor was. But
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure they pulled that shit from the visual guide to characters, which is what I've been
Undoubtedly.
telling people. Yeah, what I've been telling people why I hated the whole thing that he's a clone now, because we had his background from the same book, from the book that they used to justify the knee rockets. Like, fucking assholes. Like, come on. How do you take this and be like, no, that's garbage, and we'll give it, we'll
but he's
give it
not
over
he's
here.
not
But-
a clone, right?
He is literally a clone of his father.
But he's not. Yeah, he was a clone
He
of his
wasn't
father,
in-
but he grew up naturally, not
Oh,
he didn't.
yes,
accelerated.
He didn't get the age enhancing juice or
Yeah.
whatever, So
And he didn't get modified either, right? So the other clones were like genetically modified.
Yes,
think
they
it
were
was just like
modified to be more receptive to the training and quote unquote docile.
well,
Yeah,
and then
this is what you want in a soldier, I'm sure.
right. It take the finale, they had some kind of organic switch that was empowering Order 66, because that couldn't just be programmed in their training. It had to be some kind of organic thing.
Yeah, and then you take out the whole. No, we're not going through this again. No,
I wonder.
I gotta go
wonder
anyway.
What is Order 1 to 65?
Shh. So General Order 1 was when he got emergency powers. General Order 2 was, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just making it up. And nobody knows. It doesn't matter. But we could give you some flippant line from J.J. Abrams where it's like, look, they didn't know what orders 1 through 65 was. So that I'm going to leave that to the books. Who needs to know what Snoke is doing? You didn't know who the Emperor was in episode 4 either. Blah. So I could do whatever I want. That was literally his defense. It was him or Ryan Johnson, obviously one of the two.
Both of them used various versions of that defense.
Right. But it's like, you guys didn't know who Palpatine was in episode 4, so we're not going to tell you who Snoke is either. We'll leave that to the books.
We can't just think about this though. We can get a Marvel level Star Wars franchise if we say for now Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It's getting started up by the same guy who started the Marvel franchise with Iron Man.
Yeah.
And then we just get Feige in to run the show.
And
we're
we have
just
to be all the same assholes. Why don't we have new people
because
who can
there's
do
nobody
competent
else
things?
who can we can't trust them.
I can't.
Ask Kathleen Kennedy.
I can trust Kevin Feige.
Yeah, him, but let him stay with Marvel. What the hell do we got to do? I mean, Marvel's already going down the shitter with half their movies, so let him see if he can do that. Dude, some of these movies are going to be terrible and uninteresting.
I don't think Favreau's committed enough to like run the overall franchise forever. He wants to do different things probably.
Well, then maybe you can do it, and we can just kill Star Wars for good.
Filoni wants to do it. That's the problem. So
There you go. All right, I gotta go. So if you guys want to keep rambling, I will see you next time.
bye. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Fuck
Give us
the
at least
Mandal-
one. There you go. Give us at least one bah humbug before
Fuck
you
the
go.
Mandalorian.
There you go.
Shall we
Like-
continue or shall we
I'm-
end?
I just want to play the Mandalorian theme because it would.
When
irritate
fans are that
people.
overly critical, that's just how shit just never gets. Like, we can't fix them. We'll just never. Well, fuck it. Well, they won't do anything.
The closest I ever was to a Sith was when Episode 7 came out. So I understand the hate, but the Mandalorian, I feel it's misplaced. So,
Really, you hated 7 more?
Are you kidding?
I thought-
I hated 7 so bad. Like,
I thought. I mean, it was
Terrible.
it was inoffensive. It was just meh.
no.
No,
Nah.
no, it was offensive.
They lost. The problem is they lost me in the first 5 minutes, and at that point there wasn't any redemption, right?
Was
So
it when
when
he
he-
stopped? Was it when he stopped the laser with the Force? Because that
When
pissed
he
my
grabs
brain
the
off.
blaster bolt out of the air, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And we're just gonna have a 5-minute conversation with this in the background, and like, what are we doing? And honestly, like, that moment distracted me from the rest of the entire scene anyway, right? Because they keep going back to the bolt to be like, "Ooh, what's gonna happen? Who's it gonna hit? Where's it gonna go?" And you're like, "Cool, yeah, let's do that," because I don't care who this kid is, like, let's see what happens. And yeah, like, ooh. So if I had to, I could pick out good parts from all of the movies, but unfortunately, the only part from episode 7 that I enjoyed is the very first time that the X-Wings show up at like Maz's hideout, right? When they're having their big melee outside and everything's going poorly and the TIE fighters show up and then you get the new X-Wings come by with Poe Dameron in the lead. That is probably the best scene of episode 7. I have a really tough time picking out something else that I don't have a problem with. Don't necessarily like the new X-Wing design, but as I've said to many people for years now, lock S-foils in attack positions makes me a kid every time. When it happens in Rogue One, even though it's only 3 of them, the Battle of Yavin, every single time you hear that line and they cut to the X-Wings basically tearing shit up.
Did it tingle you when Mandalorian, where they're like, "Can you go to the other channel?" and then they go, bzz, bzz.
Oh yeah, absolutely. like not quite the same, but I was like, oh shit's about to get good.
Yeah, I was like, uh-oh.
But with Mandalorian, like for me, Slave One fits most of that, right? Every time Slave One is on the scene, it's like, oh my God, like this isn't even how, like they really needed to use Slave One in the movies, but it wasn't that story, right? But the fact that he drops his bomb, the same way in Clone Wars, and the fact that his cannons rotate and shoot the other 2 TIE fighters, for the finale, like in the way they used him in the finale was just great. Like even though he's basically there to, show his face, cause a scene and run, it was still great for those few minutes that we got him on screen. So yeah, I mean, it just, yeah, for whatever reason, it's the ships that do it. And I think like that's what ultimately fed into my thing about the hyperspace whales is like, first of all, fucking ridiculous when they first got introduced. And second of all, the way they used them in the finale of Rebels was just like, no, like you robbed all of the stuff that should have happened from Star Wars by doing that, in my opinion. So
I don't know what hyperspace whales are. I was gonna watch Clone Wars, but
you should probably start with Clone Wars because it's also first in canonical order, right? But Rebels is worth watching, but it does have problems.
If I'm watching all the stuff and reading the books and shit, watch order. What do you think is best? The way they came out, the chronological order.
No, I would probably do it in the way that they came out because it would probably be less jarring than going from the prequels to the OT and just be like, oh, well, all the graphics are terrible. Yeah, because they weren't graphics back then. Like it's puppets and shit, which the puppets are great, right? But like the space battles and like, oh, they're models and whatever. But like if you're vain like that, I mean, I'm a purist, I would go OT then.
I have a bone to pick with Disney Plus here and Netflix for that matter.
Okay.
Speaking of good quality, I mostly watch on my computer, right? I have 3 screens. I have a 2K screen that I have good hardware, but apparently, because they're afraid of piracy, I can watch at best 1080p on my computer. My hardware can do 4K. My screen can do 2K at least. Right. But I'm not allowed to watch more than 1080p, even though I actually pay for 4K.
Yeah, that's
stop paying for it.
Right.
But we're more people that use it, and them use it on TV where they can watch it with 4K.
Okay, so they can watch it on 4K on the TV, but not on.
Yeah, TV is fine. Computer is only 1080p.
Yeah, that sucks.
And this probably isn't actually helping them with piracy at all either.
Right.
Because they're like, oh,
most pirates don't care
4K.
That bad. No. So I'd watch it in 480 rather than buy it in some instances. I mean, obviously, 4K is great, but that's not going to stop me from pirating it. It's like, oh, sorry guys, I can only get it in
not 1080p. To spend the money. It's like.
Right.
I mean, I just got rips of 1080p like DVDs and shit instead now. Then I go something called Mad VR, and I do AI upscaling in Media Player Classic, and that looks really good. But it's just, why do I have to jump through these hoops when I'm giving you my money? I want to watch it just on your platform. Just let me. Why I don't want to watch it in 1080p.
Well, that's been the classic thing anyway, right? Like a big part of the reason why piracy exists is because price and accessibility. they do all these stupid things trying to squeeze you for $1, and then they lose $10, in piracy in comparison. And it's like, just make it easy. That's always been the argument for streaming. I'm not going to bother pirating your shit if it's $10 a month for a subscription. Why would I bother?
get all the things that I want, but as soon as they started,
make it accessible.
Yeah. But when they started breaking up and like, okay, so Hulu and Netflix are
not
competing, and
available
then
in your
there's Disney Plus,
country,
and then there's that. Yeah,
yeah.
it's like now you've made it more complicated, and I fucking give
Right.
up. And so I'm going to do the easy thing, which is not paying you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just so frustrating.
It needs to be cheaper and more convenient than pirating it,
Mhm.
and they don't see that. They just see. What's funny too is like they're losing money on lawyers. Talk about overhead. They're losing money on the DRM. They're losing money on everything. But
I
if
don't
it,
even
if it
mind
came
that
out, it was like
much.
$5 instead of 10.
I don't even mind so much the thing in your country thing. I get it. The world it's from an old time. I think we're moving towards where that's going away more and more. I get it that people want to have these big companies who own a lot like Disney. They just have a lot that they want to have their own shit. I don't think every Joe Schmo content producer should have their own. At a certain point, like, you gotta have enough content to justify it, right? To be able to draw people in. But I get why they want to have their own. But limiting people on quality because you're afraid they'll record it and then upload it as a torrent because on the platform they want to join it, for me on PC, is like, that's just really ridiculous. That's kind of just like too far.
Well, now they're trying to make it a
I get
felony.
you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Have made it a felony. Just luckily the
thought it
president
hasn't-
hasn't signed it for once.
Yeah, like so it's not fully
So-
into effect yet, but
Right. But it's passed both houses, so
of all the like, I can understand trying to keep certain things illegal or having like punishments in place, but because copyright law is still a thing, whatever. But it's not a felony.
right.
I don't know. I know
Yeah,
I'm preaching
no.
to the choir, so I'll fucking shut up.
Yeah, because I mean, yes, that's a problem, but it just kind of lays bare like 10 other problems in front
Oh, yeah.
of it that need to get resolved. Like the fact that this is obviously a special interest. They obviously crammed it into a bill that it had nothing
Yeah,
to
and
do
at
with to
the same
force it
time,
through.
the interests of say Disney's probably on the side of people who are holding all of our stuff and streaming it, pirating and all that stuff should have felonies. They're not paying authors, very valued, successful authors, their royalties for the contracts that they bought.
Sure. But I mean, you could contrast it. Like I think I could be okay with it as a felony if they could prove damages, right? But they aren't. They're just saying like as far as I know, it's like for any instance, here you go. Here's 10 years, and now you've got a felony. Whereas, like for example, like felony theft is like how much money, right?
Yeah,
There's a benchmark for that. There's a difference
Right.
between petty theft and felony theft.
It's kind of, I mean, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the impression I got. Like, it's kind of like the new in the U.S. and the new, I got 3 grams of weed on you go to prison for 10 years or something
Yeah.
like that.
there are some places like that. Yeah,
Lots of places like
yeah,
that.
and
So,
a lot of reasonable people realize how stupid it is, as it has been increasingly more legalized. Every election, it becomes more legalized.
Yeah, it's how many states now?
Like
It's legal.
20 or so.
Getting close to half. At what point does it just become federally legal when almost half the states are like, yeah, it's fine?
I don't think it's on the state level because it has to do with how they have the schedule of the drugs. The federal people on some form have to move it from Schedule 1 and off.
Yeah, so do it. I don't know. It's
the
just, I
problem
think
is it's at some point we realized a flaw in our system that it was easier to go by, legislature and just sign laws out of hand instead of update the Constitution, which, some of these things should have passed that way. And so, yeah, they're not going to, and, it's obvious that there's a disconnect between the representatives and the constituents at this point. So,
I just think, like, I think it's
anyway,
fair enough.
that's a
if you're
different conversation. So we should
Yeah.
probably just.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, if you think alcohol should be legal, then you also think weed should be legal. Otherwise, you're a hypocrite. That's my take on it. It's okay if you think both things should be illegal, but if you think one of them should, not the other, I mean, I don't see it. That's
The
my hot
difference-
take.
The difference is exposure, right? So, yeah. Like everybody, like alcohol's been normalized and weed's been demonized, right? So that's
Mhm.
why. So, but comparative risk, they're probably, everything I've seen and heard says they're on the same thing. Haven't compared
Exactly.
myself, so.
Me neither. That's because I don't want to smoke. If someone want to make me an edible, I'll eat it.
You don't, but you don't. Mm.
That's what I say, like edible, right? You're gonna eat. You're
Exactly.
gonna eat.
It's
Fine,
not
we got
that hard.
We're 15 over. Let's get
let's
get demonetized.
I don't wanna
so.
make it. That sounds like
Come on,
effort.
director. How was your Christmas?
Oh God, I can't walk down 3 blocks without seeing a weed shop, and they have like everything you possibly can. You can vape it. You just like it's not
Yeah,
hard.
but
You-
it's technically not legal here, even though people don't really care. There's no direct shops, and I'm not buying from criminals because I don't want to support a criminal system.
there's too much